أوكي، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما تعلمنا وزدنا بفضلك علما وتعليما إنك على كل شيء قدير. قال المصنف رحمه الله تعالى ونفعنا الله بعلمه وعلمكم آمين. سمعت مسلما يقول: ذكر خبر واهن يدفعه الأخبار الصحاح. حدثنا مسلم قال حدثنا عبد الله بن مسلمة. I believe this is القعنبي. One second. القعنبي. Yeah, عبد الله بن مسلمة القعنبي. Yeah, هو من أخص من أخص طلاب إمام مالك. Yeah. Okay. أنبأنا سلمة بن وردان عن أنس أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رأى رجلا من أصحابه فقال: يا فلان، هل تزوجت؟ قال: لا. So this hadith here, the Prophet ﷺ سأل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رجلا: يا فلان، هل تزوجت؟ فقال: ليس عندي ما أتزوج أي به. قال: أليس معك قل هو الله أحد إلى آخره. Right. قال مسلم: هذا الخبر الذي ذكرناه عن سلمة عن أنس، آه هذا الخبر الذي ذكرناه من سلمة عن أنس أنه there's a problem here. Maybe it's إنه خبر يخالف الخبر الثابت المشهور, perhaps something like that, الله أعلم. فنقل عوام أهل العدالة ذلك عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم، وهو الشائع من قوله: قل هو الله أحد تعدل ثلث القرآن. فقال ابن وردان في روايته: إنها ربع القرآن. ثم ذكر في خبره من القرآن خمس خمس سور يقول في كل واحد منها ربع القرآن، وهو مستنكر غير مفهوم غير مفهوم صحة معناه. ولو أن هذا الكتاب ولو أن هذا الكتاب قصدنا منه فيه الأخبار عن سنن الأخيار بما يصح وبما يستقيم، ولو لما استجزنا ذكر هذا الخبر عن سلمة بلفظه باللسان عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم، فضلا عن روايته. وكذلك ما أخرجه من الأخبار المنكرة، ولكننا سوغنا روايته لعزمنا على إخبارنا فيه من العلة التي وصفناها. وسنذكر إن شاء الله تعالى ما صح من الأخبار عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وسورة وسنذكر إن شاء الله تعالى ما صح عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وسورة قل هو الله أحد أنها تعدل ثلث القرآن. I'm kind of متردد here and there because the structure seems a bit either odd or wrong. ورواه مالك بن أنس عن عبد الرحمن بن عبد الله بن أبي صعصعة عن أبيه عن أبي سعيد عن قتادة بن النعمان عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أنها تعدل ثلث القرآن. ورواه يحيى بن سعيد. So you understand the point. So here it mentions get married because it mentions um, reciting قل هو الله أحد is a quarter of the Quran, and I think إذا جاء نصر الله is a quarter of the Quran, and two other surahs, each of them are a quarter of the Quran. So you have the whole Quran. Of course, you have enough to get married. And so he's saying this doesn't make any sense because we have seen that the Prophet ﷺ has said otherwise. So again, notice his approach, right? His approach is the content, the matan does not make sense, right? And here let's look this up in Ibn Adi as well. Ibn Adi, 1 second. So this is okay. Salama ibn Wardan al-Junda'i ولا بني مليث. Here we go. حدثنا محمد بن سلمة بن عثمان الحنفي وأبو عبس الدارمي قال حدثنا القعنبي. This is the same hadith, right? This is the hadith we're talking about. Muhammad Abdullah ibn Maslama al-Qa'nabi. حدثنا. So the point is, it's not a mistake from him, right? It's accurately recorded from him that Salama ibn Wardan said, I heard Anas saying da 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 da, and it mentions the whole hadith. So mentions all of those hadiths there. And so before that, here he said, for example, here حدثنا ابن حماد حدثنا عبد الله عن أبيه إمام أحمد قال سلمة بن وردان منكر الحديث ليس بشيء. Same thing here. قال عبد الله سمعت أبي إمام أحمد يقول سلمة منكر الحديث. From يحيى بن معين قال سلمة بن وردان حديثه ليس بذاك. قلت ليحيى بن سلمة بن وردان كيف حديث قال ليس بشيء. يحيى بن معين. So he's not explaining what he's doing here, but what he's showing is these are mistakes of his hadith. He says, he's not saying that this is a mistake, he just says, he just giving examples without explaining. Mention all these different hadiths. So he says, قال الشيخ ولسلمة تبني وردان غير not غيره ولسلمة تبني غير ما ذكرت من الأحاديث. وليس بالكثير وفي متون بعض ما يرويه أشياء منكرة يخالف سائر الناس. Right? So notice this is pure content. It's purely content. Right? So again, the way of muhaddithin and fuqaha is the same. There's no difference. When I say fuqaha, I mean, right, non-Shafi'i, right? But the approach is, yeah, this. So just because there's a chain where we've seen your content, the content is off again and again and again and again and again, we don't trust you anymore. So this is the issue then, is why would you accept a sahih hadith then, even if it's off, meaning the content sounds strange? What it means is your content is not usually off. You don't have hadith like this. Again and again and again, your hadiths tushbihu ahadith al-thiqat, right? The quick common criticism is hadithuhu la tushbihu ahadith al-thiqat. So the content is off. But your content is not off. Your content is never off. Suddenly there's a hadith and it sounds odd. All the default is it's accurate because you have proven yourself again and again and again that you do narrate in all hadiths. So it's very important to understand that this whole idea of the mutton focus is important because the only criticism here is yukhalifu sa'ir nas. It's not that he narrated the self same hadith and the self same narrator in a different way. That's different. Here the issue is the content is off. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir. So this would go into it wouldn't be in I mean, what quality of in the methodology of the muhaddisin, this
So
would fall into, I mean, he's,
what it is basically is understanding dabt. Understanding that dabt comes from ma'na. That's what it means. Is that the idea that is that when I say somebody is a thiqah, it means I've been looking at the ma'na of his ahadith. Right? I've been looking at the matan. I have not just been looking at the chain transmission. So what it is essentially like looking at the matan is the way I judge that you are accurate or not. So I see that you, number one, you narrate the hadith in the same way, the same sanad and the same hadith again, 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 again. Okay. And then whenever there's tafarrud, I accept it because you've already shown me a track record that you do it the same way. But you consistently narrate hadiths A in a different way to other people, or B that are weird. The hadith sounds weird and doesn't make any sense. And it's not just one, or two, or three, or four. It's a number of them. So your track record is bad. And that track record is based on the matan. So what that means then is, so you come along and say, oh, the muhaddithin, they don't look at the matan. That's true. They don't look at the matan at the end, meaning once you've proven your track record, I'm going to accept this hadith. And also, they are less. They're not like they're not like the Hanafis or the Malikis. Imam Malik, for example, this content goes against Amal Ahl Medina. I'm not going to apply it, or goes against Qawaid Kulliyah, right? The other day in the Muwatta, we're talking about doing Hajj for somebody else. Imam Malik says you can't do Hajj for somebody else. What are you talking about? So the various hadith that he narrates, he says they don't mean that. They don't mean you're literally doing Hajj for somebody else. Like you can't do Hajj for somebody else. It's not possible. Just like you can't pray for somebody else. Like it's a ritual that can be done by somebody. They either pray it when they're alive or they miss it. That's it. So for Imam Malik and for the Malikis, the Hanafis, there's the same thing. The hadith about breaking your fast, right? Accidentally, right? Same thing that goes against. It's like if you accidentally didn't pray, does that count? No. If you accidentally didn't give zakat, no. If you accidentally didn't go on a Hajj, okay. What if you accidentally didn't fast, meaning you ate? So you didn't fast then, did you? Right? So like the Jumhur, the Jumhur following the hadith in Sahih Muslim that if you accidentally break your fast or you forget, right, your fast is like saying people, oh, it's okay, you didn't have wudu in the prayer, it's okay, or you didn't do sujood, it's okay, you forgot, sorry, don't worry about it. Like that's not part of the qawaid of the deen, is it? So Imam Malik is saying we don't act upon this hadith because it goes against the qawaid and it's ahad, and so forget it. Whereas for Muhaddithin, they were not going to be that broad, right? But generally speaking, they are looking at the content. Look at him, he's saying, so you could come along and say, well, the Prophet ﷺ said a third metaphorically and meant a quarter metaphorically, so you can do jama'. You could do jama', but they didn't. And he's not doing jama'. He's not saying, well, it's possible, to understood this way, possible, etc. Right? I wanted to look at, where is it? Sheikh Albani. I think pretty sure Sheikh Albani says a hadith is sahih. Where is it?
See, in this, what I've sent you, where he says basically his waham is so great that it goes out of the realm that we could use it. Is that what Ibn Hibban is saying? That على توهمي حتى خرج عن حد الاحتجاج به. So when he says حد الاحتجاج به, he is meaning in terms of fiqh or in terms of hadith.
So who's this? Who are you quoting here? This is يروي عن أنس أشياء
This
لا
is
تشبه حديثه.
Ibn Hibban.
أها.
Ibn Hibban.
So وعن غيره من الثقات ما لا تشبه حديث الأثبات كأنه كان قد حطمه السن. He was too old. فكان يأتي بالشيء على التوهم. If you could just paste that as well in the group, please. In the WhatsApp group. حتى خرج عن حد الاحتجاج. قال وهو أخو عبد الرحمن بن وردان عبد الرحمن سكن مكة. He's too old. What's that happened? He just became old and just started mentioning crazy things. كأنه قد حطمه السن. Right? He was crushed by old age. فكان يأتي بالشيء على التوهم. Right? But notice this phrase, لا تشبه حديثه. This not doesn't sound like a hadith. It's not just doesn't لا تشبه حديثه. It doesn't make sense. Right? So this phrase that doesn't make sense. That sounds like Mu'tazila, right? It sounds like something else. And like, no, this is the way of Muhaddithin. We've seen Imam Muslim use this many times. That doesn't make sense. How is that possible? How could you explain that the Prophet ﷺ pray, or that Salah was taught to pray in two places at the same time? That doesn't make sense. Okay. And then he's going to mention the next hadith. Inshallah, we hear that, inshallah. Okay. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان الله وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.